What is a community? By definition, it's a group of people who share a common interest, whether it's geographical location, a shared interest, or a sense of belonging. It's a social unit where individuals interact, connect, and often feel a sense of mutual support and identity. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Project Experiences. I would never imagine that this would somehow be the first one that I do, but it's way ahead of schedule from when I planned this project to actually start going and what I have ready for it, but kind of rolling with the punches. So, as many as everyone knows, SAF was disbanded, discarded, I don't, whatever word you want to say, on July 28th with little notice to members, to the public. In fact, I don't even think the public was made notified by command leadership until the day it shut down. I know I notified my stream 2 days ahead, kind of bending some rules because I got told not to do it until they made their announcement, but after I had saw that Ocean had posted a statement, I was like, fuck it. If they really want to punish me, there's not much they can really do about it. So, for the people who do not want to sit for an hour-long conversation, then yes, SAF has shut down, and the cause of death is mismanagement, leadership faults, absent leadership, and mostly just mismanagement. Okay. Are all the people who don't want to be here for an hour gone? Great. Hi. If you don't know me, hi. I'm Moon, commonly known in SAF or known as Husky. I have been on the YouTube platform since 2016. I've had my fair share of time on the internet, and what you see here for the past 3 years, I privated everything else. But here you see all my 5M content that has been primarily SAF. And I have held this community near and dear to my heart, but God has it hurt me at the same time. I know that no one in SAF will be making a statement of what happened or anything like that. Usually, when you see stuff about controversies with SAF, it's with the people leaving. Whether that was you watched Yeka or Ocean or Winters. I don't know what her username is anymore. I don't pay attention. But you probably have seen quite a handful of announcements and everything else, and everyone had their own reasons. But this time, this is not a leaving recording. This is why it fell. Now, for some people who have been in SAF, it might be a draw of relief, sadness. It's a mix of emotions. So this entire recording will be a mix of emotions and will probably be recorded in several parts. And I hope that you'll be willing to watch and listen to everything I have to say, really. It's not going really deep into it, but it's an explanation of some of what really did happen behind closed doors. I will not be bringing up names, mainly because I love my friends to death, and I do not want them dragged for the mud, and I don't, if anyone should be getting dragged for the mud, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. So, this is the worst anyone can do is remove me from the server, the community server, that is now dead, and has really no purpose to it anymore, so... Boo-hoo. So, get comfy, grab a snack, grab some water, get some tissues, you might need them. I know a lot of you will be left confused, so sit down or listen to this. It's quite literally a part of the podcast name for a reason. It's not meant for you to stare at the screen, it's meant for you to listen. So, I joined SAF back in September of 2023. There were many issues that I was unaware about beforehand, and, other members can address them if they really want. I know all of them still have their community platforms, and if they did really want to make a statement about what happened to them now that the doors are closed, then they can. But it's not my story to tell what happened beforehand. I'm here to tell you about my experience and what happened. So, if you're an SAF member and you're watching this and you don't like what I have to say, then just go ahead and walk away. It's okay. I'm just here to deliver transparency to the bare minimum to my audience. Again, not addressing names, not saying who did what, did not. You can make your own assumptions. I have faith in you. Of course, that might start more controversy, but I have faith that it won't, and that you all will be very mature and just knowing that this is more not to drag anyone through the mud, but for providing you all an explanation in this really confusing time, because trust me, I was confused for a very long time. So, at the beginning of SAF, I was still a minor. I was 17. So I had a lot of the older members looking after me. I did get involved in one incident that actually created rules so that it could never happen again. Yay! But it happened. And at the beginning, SAF was truly a community and one that was like a family and great. And I enjoyed every moment. I mean, there was a lot of anxiety in it, and you can really see it while I play my character, Ember. A lot of those big, impactful scenes of mental health, it was mostly just me also being very anxious. More prominently, if you ever look into VODs like the shootings or robberies with Civic and Moon, then you would see me kind of just crumble to the ground because I face IRL gunshot anxiety. And I'm very thankful that there is a lot of people who stood with me with those things. People were pretty nice and understanding once they knew that, like, you had to be a little bit more cautious. To today, I still have it, but if I'm expecting it, then I'm okay if I get fair warning. Of course, it doesn't make it so real with a reaction, but it was better for my mental health. Enough about me, though. This is about the slip and fall and the crash and tumble SAF just took to the ground. So, like I said, mismanagement. When did this all begin? When did this massive collapse begin? Every member would tell you a different point. Some would say when fire and EMS split. Some would say when EMS absorbed UHN. I can't say that was a willing thing, and I know a lot of civilians lost their interest in doing any EMS after that because UHN was attendance free. You did not have to make an attendance. It was get on whenever you feel like, do some hospital RP, get on a bus, go around, chill. When we got absorbed into reservists with EMS, we did have an attendance requirement, and many people did not like that, and so that sparked controversy. Some members might tell you when economy hit SAF, and that required taxes, and, for, SAF 16 and up. So, some of us didn't know how to do taxes, and so running a business and having characters seemed impossible because you could get charged with tax fraud. Luckily, that was a moment where community management did hear us and took every suggestion Fred into account, and taxes were removed. Yippee! But that's not to say that didn't add any stress to it. But if you asked me when the true moment when SAF took the turn and it started making its way down the hill, July 2024. This was the time when Fire had held a strike because the current leader at that time was not doing their job and was not listening to the rest of the command. Of course, this is rumor heard by me, and any of those people can go into further detail. But there was a strike, nevertheless, from the SAFR, and none of our members really got on. We did not hold any members accountable for getting on, and it went for sure. And to say that the strike was not successful is one thing. Another thing to say is it was not a win, nor was it a loss for the strike. The strike did get its purpose, and that leadership was discontinued, but with that was our IPs and keymasters and every other thing where every 5M server owner will be gasping at losing all those assets at once. So yeah, that leader ended up taking a lot of things with them, and with that list was the TeamSpeak and server. So within a couple days, which we were gone, absent, and why no content really exists in July 2024 because there was no server, which, strengthened the community bonds with general membership, that's for sure. It gave us all the time to relax and not have to worry about doing any administrative stuff or anything like that. And, we all kind of bonded. We all made Minecraft servers to watch, TV together. It was a chill time, despite the circumstances. And, that's one of the good moments. We love the good moments. But it did not stay that way. So we got all of his stuff back. We got TeamSpeak back. Of course, this dwindled our donations down, and I sit here and think about it now and why we didn't really do a fundraiser stream like the SAF had held in the past to get money for the server, but we didn't, and no one in Community Command was really pushing for donations. We would probably get pinged once or twice, but nothing that said that we needed donations urgently. And so the server went on through 2024 with your normal standard 5M drama. This department isn't getting along with this department, yada yada yada. And it went on, and it was fine until the beginning of 2025. So in May, after going through a bunch of people leaving, prominent people, May 8th turned to a very big point and the true no point of return for SAF. In short and sweet terms, we kind of got blackmailed, but it really wasn't a blackmail. But it was ripping assets that we were using, and we obviously, Community Command wanted to keep those assets. We think, maybe. I actually don't honestly know, because community management just gave us the document link of what the people, and there were people signing that document that were currently in the server, and we were kind of left scratching our heads, because the only people that were in management that were making comments were the people who signed the document. The rest of the community staff was just gone. No response. Every member was going back and forth with each other. There's a massive thread with almost 2,000 messages in it, and it's just going back and forth. Now, this document was targeting 2 members at that time. One that CMs had let return, and one that Fire Command let return to the server with a zero tolerance policy. So if you can't get the drift, these people were previously removed. It's pretty key to remember that they were removed and not banned. Banned is a term that is used in SAF. It is a thing. being removed does not mean you're banned, so you have the opportunity to come back. But during that recruitment period, we were also facing the fact that there was a lot of shadow banning happening, where people in SAF who had been removed couldn't return because of their past mistakes. So we had let two removed members back, and their offenses were the exact same. Different reasons, but the same rule they were removed on. And with that, it became a witch hunt between people who were defending these people and people who were not. Now, overall, the people who were trying to get these people removed won the battle. And everyone who was defending them openly was removed. Yes, all those people leaving at one time, the fact that all of Fire COC almost vanished in one snap, was not a voluntary act on any of them. They were removed for defending these members. I can't make that any more clear. After that, anyone who remained neutral but obviously had lenience to one side or the other kind of vanished, and the term community was kicked out the door. SAF's community was gone. No one had a similar interest anymore. There was nothing bringing this back. And the numbers reflect that. We did not have patrols more than 10 people after that incident for a very long time. Many departments ended up exempting attendance for their members because they knew that their members weren't going to get on after this event. God, wouldn't you think that was a telltale sign that what just happened didn't go well? But nevertheless, the people got what they wanted. They got those people removed, and anyone that agreed with them removed. And again, the reasons I'll leave silent, just for the sake of everyone and the people. But nevertheless, it was like a boat that had holes in it. We were sinking very slowly. I took pretty much June as a mental health break. After all that, I was promoted before that event to captain because there was not a lot of people left and they needed someone to do some admin work. So I got promoted, and then those people got removed, so I never actually got trained on my position. Not fully. So I was a captain that had to do the work of a battalion chief and 6 other people, sadly. So without any abilities to actually be a battalion chief, and I was just still a captain, I was working very closely with the deputy chief, which all of you can probably remember them, but you may not know who they are because they could no longer get in game after a certain point due to computer damage. And so they couldn't actually be a character. They were just there for doing admin work, which was left as fine. Many of us feared after that event that that person would be removed because they could not get in online. But don't worry, community management was absent still. And it was very clearly evident that they would remain absent after failed meetings with said deputy chief. The closest we could get was me talking to a fellow lower COC equal to my rank in other departments. And we all didn't know what was happening because many people were leaving or gone and everything else. And we went from 140 members to barely scratching 100. Very fast. And not to mention that probably a good 60% of those people were on some form of attendance leave before. So, not looking great. Including myself. I was on an attendance leave because I knew I was going to be traveling a lot. And my birthday was coming up, and I planned on celebrating it stress-free. Ha! Joke's on me! I was stuck doing admin work for SAF. Because no one else could. So, the little fire COC and myself continued doing what we could, but I think we had all come to the terms that SAF would die, to the point where I was actually taking bets with members that were no longer in SAF, and I got it right. I said late July, early August would be the demise of SAF, and I could not be more on the money on that. This bet was not money based either, before any of you questioned that it was just guesses that we just kept note of. So it happened. No notice, less than 72 hours to go, we received the announcement from the only CM that the two other people, there were 4 people in total in community management, 2 of them had left, and left with no instructions on what to do. It was then made by the 2 lone community management to end the server, with little notice and no funding to continue it, even if we wanted to. Now, you may be sitting here twiddling your thumbs like, but why didn't SAF just put out a notification for getting donations? Okay, we had a whole fucking dumpster fire happening in the background. We didn't have access to our keymaster. That got lost a long time ago. We didn't have access to the server IP anymore. Once that we didn't have the access to the payment management, our person who was being the middleman could no longer be the middleman for donations anymore. It was all going up in flames. There was no chance of saving it at that point. And the general community, we all came together being like, we can fix this, we can donate, we can keep this going. But the brutal reality all really did hit us when, 1, those facts got put in front of us again, and 2, we all kind of knew. There was no general sadness for SAF dying. We kind of all knew it would happen. And I figured it might happen since day 1 in the server. Day 1, I was warned that SAF had this fit every 6 months that it was going to die, and I should just get used to it. So, you're not really good stomping grounds when your community several years in advance is already like, oh, this is normal. This happens. Plenty. It should not be like that. I promise you, it shouldn't. The fear of a server dying happening every 6 months should really tell your community management right then and there that, hey, maybe we shouldn't let these thoughts come in. Maybe it shouldn't be a problem. But it was for SAF. And for anyone to deny that that was not a thing, then you're funny. You're really funny. But it was, sadly. And overall, it was a lot of tension. I took battalion chief not because I wanted it, and not because anyone wanted to give it to me, but out of desperation to keep SAFR alive. We had 1 active member. When I say 1 active member, I mean there was 1 person that stuck it out for us all, for the whole entire SAFR thing, without going on an attendance leave and making their attendance. I would like to applaud that person. I wish I could bring them with me to other servers I've been looking into, but sadly they all have age caps, and this person so happens not to hit most of those age caps, which is sad because they were a great person. And if they are watching this, I appreciate your dedication to the core. You will go far in life, I promise. If you keep that dedication up to something, it will go, life will go great. But we only live once, and we can't dwell on the fact that SAF is dead, because it is. And it's not coming back. And, you know, for some of you, this might be the beginning of a grieving stage. And I'm so sorry, but I have to dwell the news on you that it's truly and evidently gone. There's so much more I could probably go into detail on what really went wrong, but I've chosen to keep most of the information to myself as much as I pride myself on transparency for you all. I've also decided that, some things are best kept in my own pockets than to put it out on the internet, because not only would it hurt others, but it would probably hurt me for restating half of the shit I've seen. With that being said, I don't plan on bringing back really any of my storylines because those were really dedicated on the people I was working with. Some of you might cry about that. I'm sorry. Now, the characters might return in other servers if I can ever find a server I'm willing to go into and a server that will take me in. I don't think that I will be streaming much of it until I pass probationary phases and stuff and earn my respect in those communities. And I'm confident. Obviously, there is one community that you all are aware of, FRRP. I will continue trying to make content in there, but right there is just... It's a little finicky to make content there because they're so laid back and I can't really build storyline off of that because of how laid back that community is. No offense to laid back communities. Love them. They're chill, but they're more of a fuck around server than serious RP where I can build a whole storyline. I had a lot of projects for SAF and now I gotta pocket like all of them. So I'll be focusing on other forms of content for now. I'm gonna go with what my heart says. I'm gonna do what I do and just try to make content you all enjoy. If you have suggestions on communities that I should look at, don't be biased. Actually, like, well-developed communities I'm looking for that are serious RP and willing to do story building, then, I would look into those, but I can't guarantee I will go to those communities. But yeah, moons, Ember Moon, there's other moons. Ember Moon's storyline will end with SAF. She was the beginning, and she is the end. She will not make any form of return at all. I will not bring back the character. She was our anxiety, mental health, relatable, stress relief, or just way too fucking relatable. You decide. But she will lay to rest with SAF. Danica, same vibe. But we may see a different perspective from the Moon family. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because obviously, the family obviously goes a lot bigger than what it was. So you guys will see some new perspectives, and we will not lose the name Moon, I promise. Cadence, I'm gonna make Brooks cry maybe, and she can either DM me or put in the comments if she watches this. I'll probably send her a timestamp to this. Cadence will be waiting at the bar for Amelia to give her a free shot in her next therapy session with the bartender. Every day until she shows up. So Cadence will not return in any form either. Jace will return with a new storyline. Honestly, Jace's storyline never turned out how I wanted it in SAF. And actually, in my notes, I wrote that, Jace bite the dust. Jace died in SAF. In the SAF world, Jace has died, to a failed robbery. Go figure. But that's where Jace's story ends. Raven, actually, I'm kind of excited with how Raven's ended, and that might make the person I RP'd with actually laugh. Um, if you did not know who Raven was dating, it was Crawford. I loved working with Crawford. Crawford also did Ash for Moon's storyline at the very beginning, and was honestly the backbone into, like, my first steps into civilian, and I cannot appreciate that anymore. And I don't give this man enough credit for all the crap I've thrown at him, and I'm still throwing crap at him. um, but Raven and Crawford have moved to where Crawford's family lives, and their story continues elsewhere. Uh, I think Raven might be the only one I actually might continue her storyline and character, which I'm actually kind of happy about that it's kind of set up that way now. Um, but that, yeah, it just depends on, where I go with other communities. Who else do we have? Violet, obviously, she's gonna continue doing stupid shit, and she's probably gonna die from doing stupid shit. Or end up in jail for the rest of her life. Who knows? Kier was our drunk robbery girly. She had a whole different storyline. Her storyline was supposed to be all badass, mafia boss vibes. She has been bailed out by her family, and she's gonna be working with her mother's gang. I don't plan on bringing Kier back. She was great. Idea, poorly executed. Sasha! Love Sasha. Sasha's our over optimist, and she will end with here. But what I have written down for her is she takes civics advice. Now, I can't. The VOD that they actually got into a fight will be posted for members only, and then it will become public. It will probably be published around, I would say, September, beginning of September. So it will be probably the last form of SAF content that will be released. If you're a member, I have so many SAF content member VODs. It's wild. I'm still getting through, so you guys will have content going for a little bit as long as I remember to actually give it to y'all. So if you want to become a member, great. It's only $2.99. It supports me a lot in my future endeavors. If you want to support me, that's the cheapest and easiest way to do it. Otherwise, in the doggo regards, both dogs, Oreo and Honeydew, will continue being with their owners and serving their best puppy dog lives. I'm sure Oreo will continue finding rusty things and causing chaos for Brooks. I have no doubt. But, yeah. Besides Raven, if any of these characters return, then it's not with the same storyline. They don't have the same memories. It's like they're being born again. That's weird to say, but that's just the truth. I will be opening a thread in my Discord for any questions and on this topic of SAF shutting down, and I'll try to answer them, because I'm sure I left many things to be questioned, and if I find it reasonable to answer, I'll answer them. If I have to make a second video addressing some of the questions, then I will. I am not scared to do that, but that's about it. That's why SAF died. It lost its words of being a community before it died. And it depends on which definition you take community as, but I take the definition of community as the one I stated before. And at least I don't feel like I was a part of that community anymore after that. I can't say that any actions were right. I will continue remaining neutral on that. No one's decisions in that event were handled properly. And it led to the absolute ending remark of this community. So, yeah. I will see you all soon, I guess, in whatever new adventure we have. I hope you stick around, because obviously the stuff I did in SAF will continue. Not the same characters, but I hope to still give you some lovable fit people. And I'm kind of excited with where this actually might take me. It's a lot more unpredictability. Um, I am no longer a full-time content creator, though, after this. Mainly because of life. I don't, being a content creator does not pose me enough money to make it full-time. I wish it did, but it does not. And so I will continue now just putting any money I make from making content back into the content, and we'll hope it still makes me money off of that. You guys have to look forward to this new podcast stuff. The next episode of this podcast may not be for a long time, as again, I kind of started this early, but it felt fitting. So, as I state in the beginning of all episodes and the end, eat something and live life the best way you can live life. Good night, chat.